Welcome to Daily 5 for Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. I was watching the latest video that Michael Fisher put out, his video review of I believe it's called the Pixel tablet, Google's latest tablet that was released, I think, relatively recently. It was shown off at I/O, and then I think it's been out in the wild for a little while now. But in any event, he was talking about it, and I would recommend watching it because, just like Michael's other videos, it is an excellent review and a very thorough kind of examination of what the product is and is supposed to be and what it actually does. And in that video, one of the things that he points out very correctly is the biggest problem with it is that it depends so much, or at least part of the utility it is sold to you as, is based on the Google Assistant. And of course, there have been many news stories about assistants of all types being in a lot of trouble. The Alexa assistant has gone down the drain. Siri's never been all that good to begin with. And then, of course, the Google Assistant, like the other ones, has, for a lot of people, seemed to become less useful over time. And it's funny because I had remarked on Twitter to Michael that I had had that experience with the Amazon product and that Apple's solution has never been good, but it doesn't seem to have gotten worse. It's just not starting from a very good place. But I didn't mention Google's assistants because it's the only ones I've never used. But it sounds like the same thing, and nobody really knows what the reasoning for this is. In fact, there could be many reasons for it. But ultimately, in Google's case, it's even worse because one of the things that Michael was actually talking about, and I've said variants on this before, but I don't think I've ever used this particular phrase for it, is Google is finally, because Michael is pretty all in on the Google ecosystem. I think he would say that as well. I don't think I'm misstating that to say. He has a Android phone. He likes Wear OS watches. He's used Google products pretty extensively. And it's fair to say that I think he wants to like them and likes the ones he has and would like to see them succeed. So that is essentially a built-in audience in many ways for what Google puts out. And even in his video, what you start to very quickly hear is that there is a deficit of trust in Google being able to maintain their products. And fundamentally, the fact that that is now so permeated that even people like Michael Fisher are saying, and that's not to say anything negative about his reviews, they have always been impartial, but I think he's always had an enthusiasm, and I think many others had, that would even myself, just to be fair, I bought a Pixel 7 Pro. First Pixel phone I've ever bought, all this time, 7 gens in. And there's a good chance it'll be the last Pixel phone I buy. Because even though I like it in a lot of respects, it's honestly as buggy, if not more, than the phone that I used before, which was the OnePlus 7 Pro. And that one was a couple of years older. And the Pixel 7 Pro has not impressed me. And this is not a phone that Google started making yesterday. And the same thing, I'm sure this tablet is going to be DOA. I'm sure of it. And Google will kill it off, and then they'll say, oh, there was poor sales. But the reason that there's poor sales is because people don't trust your products. How does a company succeed this way? I really don't know what they will have to commit to something. They will have to commit to something. This is one of the things that, say what you want about Apple, and I've said plenty. But one thing because a lot of people have been saying this about their Vision Pro headset, but you don't have any doubt that Apple is going to be in that thing for at least the short term. Short term, long term, you can define it however you want. But I'm pretty sure, I'd bet some money that Apple doesn't kill that thing a year after it comes out. I'm pretty sure they're going to stick with it and they're going to keep improving it and they're going to make it into a success. Apple's pretty good at that. And that's something that Google has lost all ability to do. And that is their major problem in terms of user trust and faith in their stuff. You cannot possibly trust Google to stick with something even if it doesn't land properly at first. Even if it does. A lot of people have said Stadia, which is dead now, was great technology. They should have sold it to somebody. They should have figured out how to leverage it. Instead, they just offed it all together. Rather than take something that most people agree did have a lot of promise and just wasn't executed properly by Google, and try to do something with it or make it better or stick with it and put more money or research or whatever into it. Nope, dead. And that's what you have with Google now. What does anybody buy from Google? And honestly, a lot of the reason people even still use their products is because they're dependent on so many different things. But that's going to run out too. There will be somebody else, whether it's a Microsoft, like an actual competitor or somebody new. That is not going to last forever. And honestly, I see no evidence that Google has any type of long-term plan. And that's at some point going to catch up with the company. So unless you see what it is, please let me know. But I don't see it. Later.